Hey, folks, and welcome back to the View Podcast EP16. I think at this stage, I'm not even really counting, but we're doing it live. So this isn't a pre-record. This is actually live because we're going to do another stream at 7:30 tonight to focus on the transfer stuff that's gone on today and over the course of this week before we leave tomorrow to be its own day of madness, potentially ins and outs. But we'll talk about the transfers a little bit in this, but more so later on at the 7:30 stream tonight. Joined by Joe Blackburn and by Locke Leeds to talk about Daniel Farke's press conference, the upcoming Hull game, and everything that's kind of gone on this week around the houses. So first things first, we'll check in. Joe, how are you, mate? How's things?
I am absolutely fantastic. This morning, me and 500 other people sat on Flight Tracker on a stream that I was doing and just watched a 3D image of an aircraft going all the way from Germany to Leeds. So that was fantastic. And got
comments on my video this morning about that.
Were there? Why?
Yeah, there's people saying you should have watched the live stream with Joe this morning. It was very entertaining.
Okay, cool. I thought it was just quite chill and we were all just sort of sat there like having a bit of a natter, but okay, I'll take it.
You do realise now, Joe, you're going to have to do that every single one now. You know, you've done it. Yeah, expect now.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on Switzerland. That's the only other one that I will do. That's it. Any further, if we end up signing a Brazilian, I'm not doing it. But outside of that,
a Dutch Brazilian, fingers crossed. A Brazilian with elements of Dutch in there somewhere. Lucky, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, mate. Been a good few days, hasn't it? Yeah, I'm all right. Nothing fancy. I'm all right. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad that's the extent of your. I'm all right. Yeah, I brought dog for a walk. I've had a busy morning. Today's gonna be mad. Tomorrow's gonna be mad. But we're all in the same boat. We all know exactly what we're in for tomorrow. It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a big day. We are 2 signings away from the 49ers delivering on their promise. Daniel Farke asked for 4 players this time last week. He's got Solomon. He's got Ramazani. It looks like Ao Tanaka will come in. And it looks like we'll also get Isaac Schmidt as well. That's 4. For me, the Hamer or a 10 is a nice additional extra to get. I'm not 100% sure we'll get them, but been looking at a lot of stuff on Schmidt this morning as well because he's kind of come out of nowhere and an interesting one. But we will talk about these players towards the back end of this. But we want to talk about the press conference, what we're looking at ahead of the weekend, because with all the transfer noise, there's also football matches to be played. We've got one more game before the international break, which will give us a chance to reset, have a look, calm down, and see where we are heading into the bulk of the rest of the campaign. Leeds are in a good position, lucky heading into this. If they can get any points at all against Hull City at the weekend, it will put Leeds in a much better position than they were at this time last year. So some progression if they can win it, much stronger position to draw, will be a point better off than last year. What are your thoughts going into the game?
I'm probably the most excited I've been in a long time going into a game, which is bad when you're a Leeds United fan because that can often, when you're really confident, we don't turn up and we put in a terrible performance and we're all sat there going, okay, this is Leeds. But yeah, look, the squad will feel much better than they did a week and a half ago. They will. These new players are coming through the door. They're going to be they research as well. The players, they'll look online who they are, what they can do. They'll be excited. So the squad feels good. We all feel good. The atmosphere at Ellen Road because of that should have been lifted. It should feel good there. I'm looking forward to hearing that, obviously, on TV. So, yeah, mate, it's all going well. You're playing a team that not started the season great. Yeah, they've not lost, but there's also not won a game. I want to see our players motivated and ready against Hull. 3 points for me. I think, yeah, why not? There's no reason not to. Looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see if one of the wingers do get in there, the new guys, or if not. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm excited. I'm really excited to actually watch football and, in a way, get over this window now. Even though it's a good, exciting end, I want to focus on football with our new players.
Yeah, I want to get past the window, settle down, and enjoy what will be a very, very different looking Leeds United squad, Joe, come this weekend when the window shuts. A lot of players come in, a lot of players have gone out. Do you think we're in a weaker position or a stronger position as a squad? Maybe not as individually brilliant, but maybe more balanced and more goals as a squad around the place.
Are we comparing to the start of the season, or are we comparing to last
No,
season?
yeah, assuming everyone comes in that's been linked, except for the Hamer one, excluding him, everyone else has come in. What do you think?
I think we're probably looking a little bit stronger, because I feel like the issue we had last year was we had a hell of a lot of talent and it was concentrated in like 3 people.
Yeah.
But this season we're sort of like, okay, so Manor Solomon's had a recurrence of his knee injury and he's out for 3 or 4 weeks. Oh no, we'll have to turn to the bench. What do we? Oh look, it's a Welsh international winger. Or oh look, it's Ramazani, who is a fantastic footballer. Or it's Willie Nonto, who has, let's be honest, if he keeps playing the way that we know he can play, forced his way back into the Italy side. There's a hell of a lot in terms of depth that we've got now, and we've got options, and we can actually see Daniel Farke looking at his bench and go, wow, okay, we've got a bit more now, which is quite nice, I think. And I had a moment of fear there where you were shaking your head, and I was like, does Joe vehemently disagree? But it's the comment in it, yeah.
Yes, the comment. I'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah. But
are you done?
I think we're looking good. I'm happy, yeah.
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
Good.
Good. Squad looks great. There is. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about if we do need some more additions in certain places. But the firepower, regardless of where they play, is an absolute joke. Let's be honest. And if you can kind of get as much as it is possible in a sensible way on the pitch, it should be enough for any team in this league, shouldn't it? Really.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. I mean, if you're looking at the possibility of Joseph, James, Aronson, and who was left at the weekend?
Nonto.
I'm missing. Nonto. Yeah. You could take all them off and bring on Solomon, Champions League player, Ramazani, potentially Salai, and Joel Piru off your bench to replace those four.
I'm mad at you for picking Piru, but other than that, we're good. I was going to lean Bamford.
He's not fit. He's never fit.
But then again, Joel Piru doesn't look fit when he's on the pitch and fit, so it's...
No, a loose striker, as he was a loose 10, as he was described by Daniel Farke today. I do want to address this really quick. Any truth in the rumor? No, there is no truth. So Graham Smith has asked the club. They've contacted the club. There is zero truth, and the club have categorically denied that Joel Piru was involved in any bid to Sheffield United at all. So there you go. Didn't happen. So we can all relax a little bit. There are a couple of other comments. Is Salai coming? Possibly. Balumi, we don't know. It could be a next year thing, but he was apparently linked to Leeds, but possibly not. As we said, didn't happen, so not true. Salai is not a doubtful Donick, depending on who you read. Sasha Tavaleri says that Leeds are in negotiations with him right now. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, and then Daniel says Hamer is not coming, and apparently one of Hamer's mates is in the chat as well, who knows him and speaks to him regularly and says he isn't coming. But anyone who's a journalist has said that apparently he's quite keen on a move. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's nice of his friends to pop into the chat to let us know that he's not coming to Leeds.
Well, so I'm Parag Marathe's best friend, and he says that it's happening. So who knows?
Cynic. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, on the press conference, Joe, Daniel Farke didn't want to talk too much about transfers. He wanted to focus on which is standard kind of normal response to things. Wanted to focus on the team. He did talk about the injury that we've got coming in. Pat Bamford and Dan James are out with hamstring problems. Interesting line about Dan James, where he said we might have him back after the international break, and that might have, considering it's a 2-week break, means that that's possibly a worse injury than say Paddy has, which is described as minor.
Yeah, it feels like saying that when you're also in a press conference where you're not trying to say much at all is going to be a case of, okay, so we're not 100% certain on how bad said injury is. It could be anything from 1 to 4 weeks or something daft like that. It feels a little bit safe for him to say, okay, he might not be around after the international break. Because if you're saying if it is a sort of 2-week estimate, he's going to be around after the international break and available, then the moment he's not, you sort of go, oh no, things are falling apart behind the scenes again. And that's sort of the last thing that we need. We could do without people sort of going panic mode again, which we did a hell of a lot last season when anything went outside of our expectations. So it seems to be a case of set loose expectations. If things are better, fantastic. Things are a little bit worse, we can deal with it. It's okay.
What's your thoughts on it, Locke? It's a bad time for Dan James to get injured. All of a sudden, there's a lot of competition for the wide places.
It's unlucky. It's like when Matteo got injured at the start of last season. Terrible timing. Literally, he played really well at the weekend. Last week, Friday, whenever it was. God, it seems like a month ago. Last time we played, it was Friday, wasn't it? Was it last Friday we played?
Yeah, that
Friday night
feels right.
Played,
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever that was, he played really well for me. I've always liked Dan James. I think he gets so much criticism because he's not a neat-looking footballer in terms of how he plays. But I always like him. I think any manager would love to have a player like him at the club. You'd manage if you had a guy like Dan James, you'd love him. He'd be outstanding at training. You know exactly what you can get from him, and exactly when to use him, how he can win you a game. It's a big, it is an issue for me because I really like Dan James, and I think he would have started. I think he'd have played just as well as he did the other day. It's really good for us last year was Dan James. It comes under the radar for whatever reason. I think throughout the entire season, Dan James was better than Nonto last year. So obviously it's different now. Nonto's on his favoured side and he's in the lineup and he's looking really good. But it's a blow for him. It's the wrong time with two wingers coming in. You know, maybe a third. Yes, but look, Dan James is a professional. He'll get fit. He'll come back and he'll push him at training, and that's what you need. So, yeah, well, what a weapon to have anyway, Dan James. What a weapon to bring on if that's the case.
Yeah, but this is actually not a bad show from Richard Hogan. It's always a good idea to make out injuries are a bit worse. The last year, Leeds players all went off to international duty. Every single time, at the drop of a hat, we all toddled off to international duty without any issues at all, and came back worse off than they went. I don't know what the significance of this window is, like, because I'm an Irish international fan. So, like, at this point, I'm not even looking at what game they're playing because it's dreadful, and we've got a Z-rate manager currently looking after the club, after the country. So, I don't look at it. So, I mean, if it's not a competitive window, if it's Nations League stuff, you'd like to see a couple of like.
Excuse me, that's a big competition. I'm sure some people care.
No one cares. Good teams that can win it care. Everybody else is like, nah, it's glorified friendly. You know, you can think that if you want to, Joe. Joe, I won't take it away from you. But for me, as an Irish fan,
to be fair though,
I hate it.
It's right. Like it's almost like he said international break on purpose to say to the Wales, look, it's not ready for you. It'll be after the international break. When we need, in other words, we need 2 weeks to get him fit, and we don't want him to risk anything more with you guys. I'm assuming.
I'd like to see a full Liverpool-esque mass withdrawal from international for all of them.
They all get injured on Friday. They all get injured on Saturday. One of them, a few knocks.
Yeah, Carl Darlow can go to Wales though. Like, he'd no issues there. He can go off and get his debut at Wales. That'd be great for him. But what do we make of that actually as well, Joe? Carl Darlow, international goalkeeper, haven't played one game in a year.
I sod it. Why not? Let him. If the Welsh want a slightly average championshipy keeper, fine, they can have him. He's not going to play for England. If he wants to go up his family tree and go, hang on, one person owned a sheep a while ago, then brilliant, go for it. But it's one of those where he's not Welsh, but if he wants to play international football and go on holiday,
English either, Joe. So let's not let's not throw that one around.
At the same time,
it's like Ampadu with his big Welsh accent in it, and Dan James as well. But anyway, yeah, you know what I mean? from London, I believe. But anyway, it's fine. It's the way it is. It's fine. I could play for Ireland as well, Joe. You know what I mean?
Jude Bellingham, Conor Gallagher, who both got moves to European clubs because they have an Irish passport. I mean. Yeah. Can you imagine the team Ireland would have right now if all the players that Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, world champions, we all decide to play.
We could have Erling Haaland, mate. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
That is true.
Well. And from Ireland, we could take.
Nobody right now.
You
think them all?
No,
you can have all of them.
Oh, okay.
You can have all of them.
We'll do that.
A handful. Yeah, we go to 5-a-side team. You can take the rest, whatever's floating around. But yeah, Darlow will make his. I mean, as a Welsh fan, Darlow or Danny Ward. Just hope you don't have to defend for too long in a game. That would be, yeah. We got Schmodox. We have Schmodox. Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, we got Schmodox at the end of his career. So, you know, we didn't exactly get the last 10 years out of him. So, anyway, it's an Ireland versus England game. We pretend it never happened and we never acknowledged that it even existed coming up because I can see it going only. And an Irish manager of the English national side, by the way, also, just to really put the boot into the Irish lads.
Spanish one soon, Joe. Don't you worry about that.
You guys should be going after a certain Uruguayan for your international manager. What you should be doing with the team that you have there. Free flowing football with that team would destroy countries, but that's next week's conversations.
Uruguayan.
Ramazani and Solomon, getting back to Leeds stuff. Farkas said that they would be late calls. Lucky assuming, let's say we're all over the place.
Sorry,
I would assume that that's because they just joined the team and he wants to slowly get them involved in this.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you did call Bielsa Uruguayan, so just
I was a little bit thrown by that one.
Argentinian. At Uruguayan manager at Uruguay. You know what I mean? You know,
just save you from some people in chat would be angry.
They will be any second.
Yeah, you asked about the players, right? Not coming in straight away. Yeah. Like I think most managers are the same. Well, I think he's been in training 4 days properly. Ramazani, he said. Solomon will be less. I think that's not a lot, is it? One of them might play because of the Dan James injury. And he might be saying all this stuff about Ramazani. He might start. You know what I mean? He might be just tempering expectations, maybe. But Solomon could easily start. He mentioned how Solomon's had a good Solomon. Sorry, it's no you, it's an O. Apologies, Solomon. He's been talking about how the caliber of him, how he's had a pre-season, he's fit, he's sharp. I wouldn't mind seeing a little surprise in that lineup, with a Solomon or a Ramazani in there. But yeah, who would he figure out actually? Who would he put on that right if it weren't them two?
He seemed to suggest that Solomon could play because he's already played pre-season with Spurs and he's got experience in the English league, so therefore not a big issue for him. You could put Nanto on the right, Joe, and put Ramazani on. Put Solomon on the left, and then Aronson through the centre. Jesus, it's a good.
That's what we did a lot last season, to be honest, and it worked fine enough. And all of those players that we would have in that line are players that are happy enough in the middle and they're happy enough on either side. So I think we just effectively just do what we did last time and say, okay, so we'll have Mateo at number 9, you 3, make a mess, go, and
go nuts.
Just be as flexible as you like. It'll work out, I think, is the general gist.
So many good options, though, isn't there? We know what he'll do. Right? He's going to put Joe Pro in the 10. He's going to put Nanto on the left and Aronson on the right, or swap them maybe. Telling you.
Let's just keep plugging away with the one position and one player we know doesn't work in that position. But let's keep plugging away because any minute it'll happen. It'll just fall into place. We'll have to see. It's a great one to muddle over because there's so many options in that position. But we'll talk about the 10 a little bit in a second. Getting into some of the questions that we're asking, Locke, it felt very much like Graham Smith was teeing up is Salai coming to Leeds question without asking is Salai. Haven't seen the previous question that was asked about transfers. He then pivoted very quick to say, is the number 10 something you want? Do you have the height that you need? Salai is 6'1", 6'2". So, in a roundabout way, and Daniel does what Daniel does and goes in a very long answer that doesn't really cover the question, but just talks about having lots of different players who could play in the 10. But Roland Salai looks at the moment to be the favourite player to come in based on what we're hearing. Sasha Tavares saying that they're in negotiations. The Gus Hamer stuff, as we said, the second offer is not necessarily true. Leeds may have gone in with a second offer, but they didn't win one with Pirro. Roland Salai would to me, Lockie, still be very much a marquee signing at this level for me.
Yeah. I was speaking to Andreas seen a lot more. Andreas said he'd be the signing of the Championship. Best player in the league, he thinks. And look, if Andreas says that, I believe him. I've seen a little bit. I've not watched loads. If there's a credible link, I will, but I've not yet, so I can't give too much. But from what I've seen, he just seemed like a real physical player, but also really good technical ability as well. He's not deadly in front of goal by any means, but he's a proper player. Like you look at Daniel Farke's 10s throughout the years, and they do tend to be big physical profiles, like he mentioned today in his presser actually about the smaller diminutive players. He actually does like big profiles in there, and that's why. Maybe signed Pro, and that's also why maybe he played Rutter in there. He does like that. He doesn't really have small 10s. Buendia played on the right for the most part for Norwich. He didn't play down the middle. He just drifted in there, obviously. So and Salai obviously can play up top as well, so that works as well. So yeah, I think as a profile, it's perfect for what Daniel Farke wants, and he would be the 10. I think I accept that confidently now, actually, that he would be that guy. He is that physical presence. Yeah. Look at any other links like Cabal, maybe doesn't make sense now looking at that because he's a very small technical player and we're playing the 10. But with Salai, he's not like massive, but he's a big physical player, right? I think he's about 6 foot, he's physical, he's quick, He can challenge, but he's also very good on the ball. And yeah, look, that would be for me a marquee signing. I did a video earlier. I don't think you need the great names. I don't think it's relevant. You need the right ones. But he is a good name and he is the right one. So it kind of works perfectly for me. Yeah, get him in. It'd be tough. I'm not sure we will, if I'm being honest. I think it might be a little too tough. But if you can, yeah, you're kind of laughing at that point, to be honest. He just fits perfect for me.
We're very close, Joe, to not only giving Farke what he's asked for, but putting a cherry on top. Because Salih Hamer will be very much an additional player outside of what he's asked for. So if we don't get them, I'm happy with the window. I think it's a very good window. 9.5 out of 10 for me, just with the players that left and who left particularly, which is why I'll take marks off it. But if you look at it from what's come in, it's a very exciting looking team. We're filling all the gaps. We're not leaving ourselves short like we have before. The 10 is a nice to have because we have players who can do that, but getting the left back position sorted, which appears to be Sam Byram that will do that job. And then Isaac Schmidt will do the right back cover. We'll compete with Bogle for that. They put him in a good position. And then as I said, if Salih or Hamer do come in, it's a hell of a cherry on top, isn't it, going into the weekend?
Oh, yes. It's like they heard the press conferences where Farke was like, we need players, guys. We could do with central midfielder. And the subtle hint that maybe we could do with a left back, because what happens if Junior gets injured? And from what I've seen of Isaac Schmidt, I forgot his name. I keep forgetting his name because it's one that's just popped out of nowhere entirely.
Yeah.
Apparently, he can just do the sort of Stuart Dallasy thing of just playing absolutely anywhere on the pitch. So that would be absolutely spectacular if we were to get him, because Byram as left back cover, I'm not 100% about, just because he doesn't like sticking wide in the same way that Firpo does. But I think if we do end up with a Salih or a Hamer, that will be very much the 49ers going, okay, we see the challenge that you set us. We've matched it. We're going to exceed it. And now you know what your job is. And I think that's the right sort of dynamic to have when it comes to running a football club, because it's everyone trying to sort of push the other departments as hard as they can. And in turn, that will lead to them pushing themselves, because the only way they push those other departments is by excelling at what they are doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good point from Evie as well there, lads, as well. Like the number 9 position is interesting if Joseph does get injured. Also, I hope you're enjoying your holiday, Evie. But Salih can play as a 9 and has played as a 9.
Ramazani too, a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So there's definitely options there. But I was speaking to Andrea, actually, and I do agree with him. I still think there is scope for a 9. Patrick Bamford is injured still. Joe Perreault is more preferably a 10 under Daniel Farke. So that is just Matteo Joseph right now. Whether these guys that come in, like the Ramazani, Salihs, play that role, that will take longer because they've just come into the team. They need to understand their actual role before they learn how to play up front under Daniel Farke. So I do think, look, if there was a cheeky striker in there, I wouldn't mind that, to be honest. I won't mind that at all. I'm assuming they won't be, but we've got to be careful with that because I don't want it to come to January and we go, we need a goal scorer. And this is why you can't take Perreault at the side in terms of, I don't mean the 11, but out of the team. Because he is still, with all these guys, I still think he's our best goal scorer. Even with the new signings, I think he's a better natural goal scorer than all of them. And if there's a game where that's required, and then there will be games where that is required, and there will be games where Joe Perreault will score goals. Because he is our best finisher at the club. I still think that. So for me, if you can't get rid of that profile, you have to keep him because we don't have any more. Whether he's a perfect player for the system, no. He's not mobile. I don't know if I spoke about his press conference, but he still is I'd argue, our best natural goal scorer for me.
Yeah. If you can get more of what he did against Norwich in the playoff, if you can get that more often.
It's there, isn't it? It's there somewhere.
Best number 9 in the league.
Yeah.
You know, did everything. So it's just a shame that you see that and it hasn't been replicated. I still have to give a shout out, by the way, to JT and Joe, who've managed to absolutely create a Daniel Ings to Leeds rumor out of nowhere. So much so, by the way, Ray, that Give Me Sport had it yesterday as one of their headlines that Leeds were interested in Danny Ings.
I cannot believe I was thinking of doing something along those lines with Dennis Mann at Parma. And these two just sort of accidentally do it and get everyone to sort of pick up on it.
Yeah.
And
if you haven't seen JT's short video on it, it's outstanding work. It's very much worth checking it. It's very, very good. But yeah, a joke turns into, it happens every transfer window, but well done on creating that one. So, and Neil Maupay didn't come to us. Thank God he's gone to Marseille. I don't find his banter funny. I think his banter is just annoying banter. Like, I just see the stuff that he does and go, you're not good enough to do that stuff, so stop doing it, And every time he takes the mick out of a player, someone comes along and does him. And then that's the end of it. He just looks silly at the end of it. So, yeah, I'm glad he's not there. So number 9 probably not going to happen. Going into the game, lads, we're in a decent run of form. Hull, not so much. They haven't won a game yet. They've drawn the 3 games. Lost in the cup. Don't score a lot of goals, but don't concede a huge amount of goals either. It's a different team, Locke, than last year, being completely honest about it, more likely facing against Hull. So what do you like? These have got to be firm favourites going into this game. You have to be looking at 3 points from this one.
Yeah, of course. Tufan, Greaves, Philogene, Morton, Delap. Maybe there's more as well. Like, these were good players in the Championship. Carvalho, obviously, in January. They've lost all that. That's a big rebuild, a big one. And they brought in some all right players. I've just been looking there. They brought a guy from Bayer Leverkusen, but they've not replaced the top quality for top quality. The wingers will not be as good as Philogene. Miller's a decent winger at this level. He's not Philogene. So, yeah, you'd expect us to win this game, no matter who we play, to be honest. No matter which. I could talk about any team. We should beat them. We should. I just hope the lads focus on, with all this good stuff going on, they still focus on the task. Don't get caught in it all, which I'm sure they won't, the professionals. Focus on the job, get it done. The crowd will be buzzing, let's believe, and the atmosphere will feel good, but they've still got to go out there and put a performance on, full focus. And yeah, Hull not won a game, but not lost a game, they'll be coming well on road, and that's an opportunity for them to, if they get a win, in the first 4 games, they can look at that and go, 3 draws and a win. That's not bad for a first month. So it's going to be tough. It's a derby as well. It's Yorkshire derby. They'll be up for it. Of course they will be. Every game against Leeds, whether it's a derby or not, is a scalp to start your season, to get a good atmosphere going. And I don't want us to be on the other side of that. I want us to just be professional and get it done, because, yeah, we want to win this league. And like I said earlier, Joe, when you mentioned about the responsibilities, the recruitment team, well, it's nearly finished. The window's nearly done. They've done theirs. They've given the manager exactly what he asked, what he needs. That's their job done. No one can blame them. Now it's on to the players and the coach to do their bit, and that's success. If everyone does their bit, we'll be fine. And that's all. That's what we need to do tomorrow to start that off.
Joe, competition for places is going to possibly light a rocket under some players' backsides as well, because Leeds have gone from a situation last week of having 2 teenagers on the bench who are unlikely to play, Joffrey Gallagher, who doesn't play a huge amount of minutes, and 2 goalkeepers on the bench who don't play an awful lot of time, to now looking at a potential bench tomorrow, should everything go well today, of having the additions of Ramazani, Solomon and Tanaka, and maybe Wonder at least on the bench. That's likely to make the players that are in the team have to play a bit better, because they're going to want to keep those spots. So it's in this situation where a decent squad really comes into its own and might actually help facilitate a better performance. Not saying it would be a bad performance anyway, but a far more focused performance.
It's like with what Lockie said a moment ago, with you've got to hope that they're not paying too much attention to the news. I think them paying attention to the news is going to be a good thing for us, because if you are a Willie Nonto right now, you're looking around you and you've gone from, my one competition on the wings is Dan James and then maybe Brendan Aronson, to, oh dear. So you're still playing for Israel right now. You were in the Scum Academy and are a very, very promising footballer. I need to up my game a little bit. And every single player in that squad is going to look around them and go, a little bit scary this. Maybe not the centre-backs, but then again, they've been fine enough as is, because we've not signed anyone for there, but they are still performing to a reasonable standard. I think, again, the goals against Portsmouth were, for the most part, weird. So the Meslier one was one he should have saved. There was the penalty where Bogle's brain just turned off for a minute. There was the third one, which was smacked in from quite a distance and half the time probably goes into orbit. Against Borough, I'm just discounting that one because that's not really the first team, and it was completely destructured by the fact that the Ruter thing. I think in terms of player quality and structure, that defence is completely fine as well. And whilst I would maybe like another centre-back on top of that, I don't think we can ask for much more from this window, to be completely honest with you. And yeah, I think it'll get the players in general sort of up their level a bit.
My biggest slight concern was, we talked about before, there was a little arrogance in our team, and I think it was the expectation that we're very good, our players are very good, that we'll win this, but no one actually applied that at times. It was just the expectation that, Nottingham will win it, or Rutter will win it, or Somerville will win it. And that's where the slow came into it, that we're controlling the game, we've got possession when we weren't, and then they hit us on the counter and we're 2-0 down against whoever, and then we're going, okay, all right. And I just hope that now we've got more players in, because when we played against Sheffield Wednesday, we kind of, the fan base was a bit negative at the time. Everything was a bit negative, and we put an unbelievable performance out there, and then it got good after. Now that it's good again, I hope they don't go back down there. We've got all these players in. We'll find a way to win. They've just got to do their jobs right. I'm worried like Louis Coyle will smash Nonto in the first 10 minutes, and maybe Nonto will lose a few battles. Then his head might go a little bit. Same on the other side. When the new guys comes in and they're not quite winning their battles, Bogle gets beat or Firpo gets beat. We've got to be careful, because regardless of if they've won or not, Hull will be up for it 100%, and our players have got to be just as up for it. Talent can't just win as this. We've got to do what the manager says and stick to it.
Yeah, and you hope they'll do that. But I think they will. I think they will. And we said before, I think competition for places is really, really good. I think it's keen. I know we've said before about Pat when there was Kamar Roof was there with Pat, when Eddie Nketiah was there with Pat. He was always at his best when he had someone breathing down his neck to get into that position, And then even the run he got last year in the team, and those 12 or so games that he played in Leeds, run that they went on, he was excellent in that run because he had a Joseph and a Pirro leaning over his shoulder. So if he didn't play well, he knew he was going to have serious competition for his place. So it's always a good thing. And we're going to finish up now. But before we finish up, we did want to briefly just point out, from Leeds All Over put a tweet out today that we thought was very interesting and thought we share it with you, is Willie Gnonto and Isaac Schmidt, who is possibly on his way to Ellen Road as we speak, know each other and have history and have met before. And interestingly enough, Isaac Schmidt was sent off for pretty much trying to break Willie Gnonto's leg in a tackle, which is going to make for an interesting first day of training for the two of them. But there's the two boys side by side in their Swiss days. And then you've got the tackle, which is blurry, but you can see where his foot is.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very high. He did get a red card for it as well. VAR check or not, he did get a red card for it. So there's history between the two of them. I'd like to see them meet in the first day and just to see.
They'll be best friends. You need to be best friends.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fun. I'm sure they'll be fine. Right, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. This will be out on audio as well later on today once we get it downloaded and put it back up on the audio channels as well. And back at 7:30 for a live stream. Paul from Leeds Therapy is joining me, and potentially Max from Leeds Lately as well. And we're going to look back at the transfers that have come in this week and ahead of what tomorrow could be. So you can check that out, another half an hour or so stream from about 7:30 this evening. So you can check that out. Joe, anything on your channel you want to plug before we wrap up?
Tomorrow evening, I'm going to be doing what I did last deadline day, and I'm going to have a fun little quiz, which has some nice little prizes for various content creators. I've got 2 prizes now. I know, it's great. So that's going to be good fun. So if anyone that is content-y wants to pop on, have a go at that. That'd be absolutely fantastic to have on. Yes, Pete, you are one of my many, many pigeons. I don't know why you've grabbed onto that, but you have done. And if there is at any point a private jet going from St.Gallan or Trabzon to Leeds Bradford Airport, I might stream again. I don't know. We'll find out.
Are you on tonight with Mr. Wayman? Is it you tonight? Is on Late Night Leeds tonight with him? I'm not sure. Jason's just asking to come at Late Night Joe stream. I'm not there tonight. Joe is doing a Late Night Joe stream.
That might be because that's a thing that I've been doing recently, where I've challenged myself to do a stream every day, but a lot of the time I forget to do a stream. So I just pop up at 11:30 like, hi guys, definitely didn't forget.
Grant. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was you Joe, or the other Joe. There's too many Joes. Less Joes. Anyway, no. We'll crack on. We'll wrap up. Locke, anything on your channel you want to plug before we close the curtain on this?
Solomon report from the day if no one's seen that. I did a video earlier about, do we need a statement name? Do we need that signing? Or do we just need players at work? And obviously, if the Takane gets announced sorry, not Ao, Ao Tanaka tonight gets
It's
announced.
Ao, is it? It is Ao.
Yeah. I'll do a scout report on him and any other player as well that joins.
Great. It's a shame it's not Ao, but
Yeah,
Ao it is. Ao Tanaka. Right, folks, enjoy the remainder of your afternoon. I'll see you about 7:30 tonight, and enjoy your day. See you.